welcome back to Talking Trollocs. We've read next 100 pages of Eye of the World and we were going to chat about it. So without getting into too many plot points just now, how did you find the writing in the next 100 pages?
I still found it very easy to read, very accessible. In some fantasy books I find it overly archaic sometimes, which is quite difficult to get into because that's a trope. Whereas this is just quite straightforward and plain writing, so I like that because I find it easier to then get into the story. I sometimes feel if it's the kind of super flowery writing that you get in fantasy, it just makes it very obvious that you are reading a story, whereas here you can just get into the plot and the happenings.
No, I would agree. I think that it's still very accessible, and I actually really enjoyed how much plot we got this 100 pages. I felt like we did get quite a decent bit of world building, but the world building was done actually through the characters' eyes and through learning more about them, which is how I enjoy world building. I hate it when it's just like, and this is how the trees look. Like, I feel like I always make a tree joke.
Well, at least you know where your roots are.
You can just leaf. Oh, very good. Leave it there. Let's move on. So, one of the things that I'm finding most interesting at the minute, no surprising to anybody, is the Aes Sedai, because I love a witch. So the fact that the Aes Sedai are like a coven throughout this entire world and society has quite mixed views on them, I just find it so interesting. So I am absolutely loving that at the minute, and I've really enjoyed finding out a lot more about them, as sort of Egwin is, well, I guess finding out more about them too, because she might be one, spoilers. So I am really enjoying that, and again I like that it's not done in a really info dumpy way. It feels really natural to me, the way that we're finding everything out, and I really like the trope of like an apprentice mentor relationship. It's one of my favourite things, so the fact that I have that, but within a witch coven, within a fantasy book, is just like so ultimate for me. I
expected the Aes Sedai would depart when she sent them off on the quest. I thought that would be the end, so the fact that she's gone with them, actually I've been really pleased about, because I like her as a character. It's been interesting. I think that the motivation that she's got, there's been hints that although they're the good guys, they're not necessarily upfront with you about what they're doing and why. So I'm interested to see if she is playing a totally straight bow with them, or if, you know, she's got some sort of ulterior motive going on, or if that's maybe just bad press and prejudice that's making people assume that. And she's really clever. You know, the example with the cloud cover over the river, and they said, well, that doesn't make sense, why are you doing it this way? And she explained it, but she said, if I explain everything, then we'll never have time for anything else. And, you know, she's got this really sharp tongue, but she's very switched on, and I think she's a really interesting character that just brings some colour to the cohort.
I would agree, and again I think it's interesting that you're talking about like the potential prejudice, because we don't know enough yet to have a proper opinion, so we're sort of in the same position as maybe a lot of other people will be in this society, like, well, I've never really had dealings with you and I don't really know enough about you, but this is what I've heard. Like, so it's interesting to be on like a similar, what's the word?
Trajectory.
Yes, as
they're surrogate really, because they're learning as we are. Exactly.
So I'm really enjoying that, and it'll be interesting to see whether it is just prejudice with Aes Sedai or not. I feel like they could be the Varuses of the Wheel of Time world, and that they'll do whatever they need to do for the realm. They don't serve any particular force, whether it's good, evil or otherwise. They just do what they need to do to make sure that the Dark One isn't coming about.
Yep.
So that's how I'm feeling so far.
You mentioned Egwin. I'm not sure yet that she is going to be an Aes Sedai.
Right.
Because there was much made about how highly unusual this was, in terms of the fact that it so happened to be an Aes Sedai. It's kind of come out of nowhere, and remember, she wasn't invited to go on the quest. She invited herself. The Dark One is targeting Rand et al. For reasons that we don't yet understand. Maybe they're not aware of her being an Aes Sedai, but I just feel like it's very sudden, very convenient. I don't know if maybe she is being misled in some way, for some reason.
It's interesting. I don't know, I feel it's pretty genuine at the minute, but that may change as time goes on. I think while we're on the topic at Egwin, I just want to say how surprised I am with the way that the female characters in this book are written. I feel like there's quite a decent amount of social commentary in terms of the first 100 pages that we've read about this wee like sanction of women who basically make all the decisions, and I think that that's quite funny, and I just think that the female characters that we've had so far have been written really well. I was fully expecting when I picked this series up to maybe have a bit of an issue with how they were written, just based on the fact it is an old epic fantasy series written by a man, and I feel like
that old.
I feel like women didn't always get the best rep when it comes to epic fantasy at the best of times, and then when it's fantasy that's written by a man, I think that it's even harder to get some really decent fleshed out characters in there and not just be in it to further the plot of the male main character. So I'm actually really enjoying that, and it's something that's been quite surprising to me.
I don't have any particular strong feeling about Egwene. I mean, obviously she's got her own agency, but in terms of personality and so on, I've not really seen anything. Not really seen anything from the main characters yet that I've connected to. They're still fairly interchangeable for me, but I've got an open mind.
I think I would agree. I think that they're all quite interchangeable. We haven't had a huge amount of individual personality because the point so far has been the quest that they're on together, so there's not really been the room, I don't think, for the individual character development. But I really like that we're starting to see that. Like, I really like that Egwene has just been putting Rand in his place when he's been having concerns about her becoming an Aes Sedai. She's just like, no lads, this is what the script is, doing what I like. And I quite like that she's a bit sassy and she'll stand up for herself, and I know that that is a trope that is done to death these days, but it's still a trope that I really enjoy if it's well done. And I think that considering this could be one of the origins of where that trope comes from is really quite interesting. What do you think now you've perked up?
He agrees with me.
Interesting. So we've mentioned Rand a wee bit. Do you have any particular feelings about Rand at this stage? Do you think he's a good guy, bad guy?
I think he's a good guy. Obviously feeling quite out of his depth, which is to be expected in the circumstances. I don't think there's anything that separates him from, you know, Frodo Baggins and, you know, another generic lead character plucked from obscurity given a quest. That's not a bad thing. I just don't think I've seen very much from Rand as yet that marks him out as being his own person.
No, that's fair. I don't feel like we have had a lot of character development with Rand, but I did.
Bam, he's still there, Tam.
I was just about to say that, and I really actually enjoyed the scenes that we were getting where it was Rand and Tam before obviously Rand had to go on the quest, and I think that it's really nice that they had that wee bit of time together, and you know, Tam like told Rand like, you should go, don't worry. I think that was really important, because I feel like if they didn't have that time together, then maybe Rand would have been more hesitant to leave. So I sort of feel like that. It feels like a wee loose end tied up almost.
And he's got this anchor, he's got something to fight for. You know, if he knows that Tam is back home, then he's got the security of his people as his primary motivation.
So what do we think about the fact that we're already having some time with the Dark One?
I wasn't surprised.
Is it the Dark One or the Dark Lord? I've been watching too much Once Upon a Time.
It's the Dark One.
It just makes me think of Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, me too. I kind of expected that, you know, to kind of set the level of threat and so on. I'm enjoying him as a character. I think it's been a good addition to have him in there.
I actually wasn't expecting him to make an appearance this soon. I thought it would be like end of the first book he'd make an appearance. There'd probably be a bit of a cliffhanger to make you want to immediately pick up book 2, but I didn't think we would get time with him this early on, which is really interesting because I really enjoy a villain, and I'm hoping, I know we'll talk about the dream sequence because we have different opinions on dream sequences in books, but I'm hoping that we're really going to get a big picture of maybe manipulation of Rand and wearing Rand down over time, so that we really get a chance to sit with the Dark One and sort of learn his character a bit before he maybe makes like an actual in-person appearance. But I'm surprised he's here this early and I'm living for it. I think he could be a really great character. I really do love a villain, especially if I fucking hate them, and I'm hoping I do.
Wonder if that's where Harry Potter got the inspiration from with Voldemort.
Potentially.
I'm interested in the reason for the link between Rand and the Dark One.
Yep, I think that it'll be interesting to find out, because where my head's going is we know that we have this connection with Rand and we know that he's after one of these 3 boys, but we didn't know what one it is. I mean, we're assuming it's Rand, right? But we don't actually know for sure. So it'll be interesting to see the 3 boys' dynamic grow as they're on this quest, to find out if the Dark One's also in the other 2 boys' heads, and then if they will confide in each other or if they'll not want to say anything. Maybe if he does get a grip of one of them and starts to make some manipulations within the group, maybe take some control through somebody's body. I think that could be really interesting. But I quite like the dream sequence. I like this sort of is this real, is this no, and like almost foreshadowing, because the Dark One is telling Rand, like, you'll be under my control, you'll submit to me. Might not be now, but it's happening, and I sort of feel like that being threaded through.
I hate dream sequences.
I know you do, but I really like them.
And it went on for ages. My issue with a dream sequence is, once you've established it's a dream sequence, and in this case it was established in the first 3 seconds, you know that everything that follows is a waste of time. Like, there's not really any suspense. It's not as if you think that it could be real life and then you're like worried about what's going to happen. The character wakes up and, oh, thank goodness for that. Oof. Oh, I was scared. No, it's all gubbins.
I love that word, gubbins.
The sum total of pointless. It's the square root of stupid. There's absolutely no point to this. 10 pages worth of something that isn't happening. That's all in his head. Ridiculous.
But have you never had a dream that's like that horrible that you wake up and even though you knew it was a dream, like, it still affects you?
Yes.
So, like, you know...
Did I put it in a novel? No.
But do you know, get like that total feeling of unease,
Amy,
and
did
like...
you have breakfast this morning?
Yeah.
Well, do you want a long description of the fact that you had breakfast?
I mean, I quite like a food description, so aye.
Just because it happens doesn't mean you need 10 pages on it.
But it helps you just, like, set this feeling of real unease.
The toenails chapter coming up soon.
And, like, does he have a real connection with the Dark One, or is this just on his mind because the Dark One's been mentioned so heavily? So then,
just a dream where it was like a conversation between him and the Dark One, and there was some sort of like dialogue, and that was it. I would accept that would have been, you know, quite tense and interesting. It wasn't, though. There was waffle, there was nonsense, there was pointless detail, there was events that weren't happening. He'd probably had too much cheese before he went to sleep. Dream sequences are the most lazy devices that authors can use.
We'll agree to disagree. I'm enjoying the monsters that we've had so far. So we've obviously had the Trollocs, and then we've had the mad wee flying fairy firebally pew pew thing. I don't remember its actual name.
I think that was its name.
Right, excellent. But I'm liking that. I like that we're getting, like I was saying earlier, to know this world. Like, there are loads of different types of monsters, and that makes me excited for what could then come. And we've already got the fact that there's the Dark One and the Aes Sedai, and I feel like we're really rapidly building this picture of this entire universe, and I'm so buzzing about it. I'm really excited.
It's easy to follow as well, because the worst thing is when you've got all these weird and wonderful names and you don't really know what anything is, but this has been layered and kind of introduced in such a way that I think it's quite easy to follow everything.
So one of the things that I really enjoyed about this book was that anytime anything went wrong, Moraine was just like, it's fine, it's all part of the pattern. When things were just being totally abysmal and the bairns were being twats and random folk were joining the quest, she just kept going, it's fine, it's part of the pattern. And I feel like I'm going to take that as my mantra going forward. Every time you do something that does my nutting, I'm going to be like, it's fine, it's part of the pattern.
How often does that happen? Very rarely.
Frequently. I hate when you go, so I've had an idea, like my stomach just falls at my arse. I'm like, what shenanigans is going to ensue? Like, have you bought a giraffe for out in the back garden? Like, have you just booked a trip abroad? Have you decided to sell the house without consulting me?
What's the last crazy idea that I had?
I mean, there will be one. It's just that there's that many, it's so hard to think. Like, you often just decide to have 18 jobs on the go, as well as trying to do your masters, and I'm like, what?
I have decided to do another course as well as the masters at the same time. That is possibly not clever.
Yeah.
My mum once found out about this old couple, and they were asked, how have you stayed married for so long? And the woman said, we agreed, each of us, that there would be 3 things that we would just accept as something that we cannot change about the other person. Everything else is fine, up for debate, but those 3 things each, we just write them off. And so whenever they do something, she'd say it's one of the 3. But she never defined what the 3 were. So everything was just one of the 3, and they never argued. So my mother adopted that as a strategy.
That's pretty much going to be my strategy with this. It's part of the pattern. So you had a particular favourite insult in the book?
9 kinds of idiot!
That is a great insult.
So, I've got 9 kinds of idiot written down. And I think it would be funny to see how many of the 9 kinds of idiot that you can guess
Right.
in 90 seconds.
No, gosh.
And the time starts now.
Idiot.
Ding.
Dafty. Thunderhead.
Ding.
Twat. Fanny.
Nothing vaginal.
I feel like I should have been specified.
This is me, I don't use these sorts of terms.
Nutter. Mug. Tube. Oh, I'm stressed. Oh, I can't think. Idiot. Say that. Said that.
1 minute remaining.
1 minute remaining.
Yes.
I don't know any more types of idiot.
Can't name people.
I'll edit that out, it's fine.
20 seconds.
Right. Nutter.
Still no.
Oh, did I say that?
2.
I don't know.
8.
Mug, tube, dafty, idiot.
6. 5.
Oh, I don't know, I just swear at folk.
2.
Fucking idiot.
You've been Trollocs.
That's sounds painful.
So you missed out on numpty.
Oh, numpty.
Moron.
Moron, I never really say that.
Pillock.
Pillock, I love pillock.
Twit.
I mean, I said twat.
Not the same thing.
Pretty much is.
Not the same thing.
Sort of is.
If you wanted a car and I turned up with a cat, you would not be very happy. Twit. We did that. Half-wit.
Half-wit, that's
Twerp.
a good one. Twerp.
And
You twerp.
and plonker.
Plonker's a good one. I feel like plonker, I didn't really say. I didn't feel like as a Scottish person I can pull off plonker.
Rodney, you plonker.
Oh, I shouldn't say pull off plonker. I should never say pull off plonker on the internet.
Why?
Well, because pull your plonker's a euphemism for a wank.
Who says that?
I feel like people do.
I've never heard that.
Anyway, shall we do the wheel? It's your turn.
Yes.
Grab the wheel of time. I don't know why I did that.
Oh, it's on the line, but it's just ever so slightly on. Recycle.
So a character you feel has been done dirty.
So if we could go back and change anything for anyone, it would be... Well, I mean, I guess the guys on the boat done a wee bit dirty. No, to be fair, I don't think anybody has been misused character-wise as yet. I think obviously there's untapped potential in our leads, but as of the minute, I don't think there's anybody who has been badly treated by the author.
I'm the same. I don't think anybody's been done dirty yet. I just feel like we need more development and more story there.
Yes.
So that is us, all caught up, and we will chat to you when we've read 100 pages more. We'll be flying through this book in absolutely no time. It is so chunky and intimidating, and I'm just trying to say that to give myself the motivation. Thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you're enjoying everything that you're reading at the moment. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye!